Good afternoon and thank you for joining us on Starr Midday News. Let's dive into today's top stories. Attorney General urges prosecution to consider bail for Democracy Hub protesters following criticism by human rights groups.
And it is up to the entire nation, particularly the judiciary, to ensure that the gains and triumphs of the past remain intact for generations of Ghanaians unborn.
Meanwhile, Chief Justice Gertrude Tokonu blames prosecutors for the delay in hearing the Galamsey cases.
The Attorney General will acknowledge that our engagements have shown that the delays often come from the work of prosecutors.
Also, Small Scale Miners Association of Ghana condemns calls for a blanket ban on mining as they question the motive behind the organized labor's decision to strike. Meanwhile, President of UTAG, Professor Mahmoudou Akudugu, has appealed to students to join the strike.
I'm sure the students will gladly join us as well. So this is about our existence. And so the students are directly affected by the activities of the Galamsey.
Also, as political campaigns goes digital, will says the impact of social media influencers ahead of the 2024 polls.
I think it's actually working, especially for Cheddar.
This has not influenced my decision as a youth because I know what I'm doing and I've seen a lot, so I know who I'm voting for. Not the social media is going to influence me in voting.
And in sports, CAF approves Accra Sports Stadium for crucial AFCON qualifier against Sudan. We have details of these and many more. Do join us.
Starr News is coming to you live on Ultimate 106.9 FM in Kumasi, Empire 102.7 FM in Takrady, Zeps 95.9 FM in Zebila, Nissim 100.1 FM in Lamshao, My Star Radio in the USA. Also live on Facebook on Starr 103.5 FM and on starfm.com.gh around the world. This is Starr 103.5 FM. Starr News. Informed, in depth, in touch.
Thanks for choosing Starr News. I am Nadima Umar Uthman. Now to the details. The Attorney General and Minister of Justice Godfrey Adame has charged the prosecution to consider bail for the members of Democracy Hub protesters who have been detained for charges including unlawful assembly at the next court sitting. Now, the AG also called on the police to expedite action and conclude on investigations by the next court sitting. Godfrey Adame made this call while addressing the opening ceremony of the 2024 Association of Magistrates and Judges in Ghana.
As a renowned demonstrator myself, one of the founders of the Alliance for Equitable Governance, who in 2009 and 2010 embarked on many peaceful protests in Accra, I stand fully for the realization of the right to free expression. However, that right is always exercised subject to the injunction contained in Article 12, Clause 2 of the Constitution. That is, the public interest and respect for the rights and freedoms of others. The peace and territorial integrity of our nation at this time, 2 months before election 2024, is far greater than the pursuit of any parochial political goals, just as the right to free expression is no more paramount than the right of others to access essential services and the duty of the police to maintain the peace of Ghana. As I always say, freedom is not free. It is accompanied by serious responsibilities, and it is up to the entire nation, particularly the judiciary, to ensure that the gains and triumphs of the past remain intact for generations of Ghanaians unborn. Thus, when a small proportion of the same people imperil the democracy we live, the institutions of justice must respond according to law. Having said this, I urge the police service to swiftly conclude investigations by the next agenda date of the cases involving the prosecution of excesses for recent protests in Accra, so as to exclude by that date all those against whom sufficient evidence cannot be found to proceed further. I also advise the prosecution to consider relevant bail applications at the next agenda date of the cases. Your Ladyship.
Meanwhile, Chief Justice Gertrude Tokonu has blamed prosecutors for the delay in hearing the Galamsey cases. Her call is in direct response to Attorney General's call for Galamsey cases to be tried expeditiously.
When queries were made about a particular case, it turned out that a previous judge had asked in 2016 that addresses should be filed. As at 2024, the addresses had not been filed, and the court was still mentioning the case as he waited for addresses. This model of case management cannot by any stretch of imagination be fair, and judges are requested to kindly sanitize work delivery in order to serve justice expeditiously. Into the negative narrative about our jurisdiction and acts as a disincentive to investors. That lack of investment leaves the entire nation, including public services, poorer. On the issue of delays in Galamsey cases, the Attorney General will acknowledge that our engagements have shown that the delays often come from the work of prosecutors. I know that under the surface of any discussion on welfare and security lies many questions about promotions. As part of addressing the issue of qualifications for promotion, performance standards have been prepared by a committee chaired by a Supreme Court judge and with representation from all levels of court to guide awareness of the outputs that would define efficiency or inefficiency.
Still on detention of the demonstrators, convener of Concerned Citizens Democracy Hub, Camry Tego, has refuted claims in the public domain that protesters blocked the entrance of 37 Hospital. He is urging citizens to partake in tomorrow's demonstration against Galamsey and the continuous detention of the protesters. He spoke on Morning Star.
The police themselves issued a press statement saying they are blocking off access to the hospital, that particular hospital road. Look, if you know the layout of 37 and you look at the runabout, they blocked the main entrance. But mind you, 37 has two entrances. They blocked the one right after the runabout towards the Jubilee House, but the one from Kalkudi was never blocked. So I don't see how come people are given misinformation to say that the hospital entrance was blocked. And in any case, the police actually made sure that whatever emergency services and whatever emergency cars that needed way into the hospital, they themselves opened up the route. They opened up the cordon, the barricade they put up out there. They opened it up. So I don't see where people are putting out misinformation to say that protesters blocked the route to the hospital, you know? And it's sad when people make certain statements that are not true just to make it seem as if something terrible happened on that day. It didn't happen. That I can tell you on authority that none of the protesters blocked any entrance to the hospital.
Now, the Small Scale Miners Association of Ghana have questioned the rationale behind organized labor's decision to strike over government's refusal to ban small-scale mining and declare a state of emergency. Organized labor yesterday declared industrial action effective October 10 after its ultimatum to government expired. Now, Secretary General of the Trades Union Congress, Joshua Anta, has been speaking to Starr News.
Organized labor met at an emergency meeting today, October 1st, 2024, following the expiration of our deadline and the failure of government to meet our demands on illegal mining, that is Galamsey. Organized labor has decided to declare a nationwide strike with effect from October 10th, 2024. We are therefore calling on all workers to stay at home starting Thursday, October 10, 2024, until government accedes to our demands. Thank you for your attention.
Meanwhile, President of UTAG, Professor Mahmoudou Akudugu, has appealed to students to join the strike.
A committee set up a 5-member administrators met us. They indicated they were going to come and engage other stakeholders and get back to us. And they never did until they never got back to us to say anything. And so that is where we are.
So for you as UTAG, paint a picture of me, for me, of what is going to happen from the 10th.
Well, we are part of organized labor. So we'll comply. If nothing happens between now and the time, we'll comply.
So, I mean, wouldn't that be sacrificing the needs of your students then?
I'm sure the students would even gladly join us as well.
You're sure the students will join you?
I'm sure about that because this is about our existence. And so the students are directly affected by the activities of the class players or these, so that the people who are engaged in these activities. And so everybody is affected. And I believe that this is not about sacrificing students, but about sacrificing today for our better future.
Let's stay a while longer on this and engage Michael Kojo-Pepra, who is the president of the Small Scale Miners Association of Ghana. Mr. Pepra, many thanks for joining us this afternoon. Why are you not in support of this move to sort of force leadership to take action against Galamsey?
First of all, what is illegal is something the law frowns on. As a matter of fact, we are not happy with the destruction of our various forest covers and our various water bodies as a Ghanaian. And the destruction that is going on, we are all against it. But in so doing, we need to be circumspect in trying to solve the problem, in the sense that small-scale miners who have gone through the necessary procedure in getting or acquiring their license to mine and have employed Ghanaians and are doing the right thing should not be banned. That is where our argument is on. We support the ban on various mining in the forest reserves. We support the ban on mining in our various water bodies. You know, as a matter of fact, no law permits anyone to mine in the water bodies. No law permits anyone to mine in our various forest reserves. You can only mine when there's a ratified certificate or a license to mine in these forest reserves. And Parliament has not come out to tell this country the number of licenses that have been ratified by Parliament. So
right. I mean, this posturing of your association, would it not come across as you're only interested in your source of livelihood and not the impact this is having on the environment?
My sister, organized labor, let's say if one person does anything, we make sure that the law deals with the person. So if indeed the problem is enforcement, and it's government that is mandated to make sure that the enforcement goes on. And at the end of the day, someone is doing the right thing. Why should that person be affected? If people are mining in the various forest reserves, if people are polluting our water bodies, and there are laws that frowns on that, why don't we enforce it? Why should there be a ban? And as a matter of fact, you know, there was a ban on small-scale mining in 2017 to 2018. So why have we come back to the same issue? If indeed placing a blanket ban on small-scale mining will solve the problem. So,
Michael, would you not agree that, I mean, there is a challenge with the enforcement, and then labor union feels that this is the right step to go, especially after government has not, heeded to their demands after they issued an ultimatum. So this is their way of dealing with the menace. As an association, what commitments have you put in place to fight this menace?
We have inaugurated our task force as we speak now. When you go to Ashanti region and Western region, the task force is working tirelessly to make sure that people who are on our various water bodies are cleared off. Also, we have engaged with some of the chiefs, and we are sensitizing some of our local assemblies on the way to solve this issue. You know, we cannot do it ourselves alone. At least we need government's goodwill to also help in solving the problem.
Right.
But in so doing, hello?
Yeah,
in so doing, we should also understand that there are advantages and there are disadvantages that comes with mining. In the sense that as we speak now, the only sector that is helping us to stabilize our city is a gold sector. Government or Ghana gained over $3.6 billion from the taxes on sale of gold in this country. And the only sector that only helping this economy is the gold sector. So,
right. Michael.
When the oil sector is down, while the timber sector is down, all the sectors are down. At least the bad things in the sector should be taken off.
Right.
And the people who are doing the right thing, who are legitimately licensed, they should allow them to mine that.
Okay. I think your point has been made. Thank you for joining us on Star Midday News. That there was Michael Kojo Pepra, who is the president of the Small Scale Miners Association of Ghana. But Nanama, Mrs. Aqua is joining us with your thoughts on social media. Hello, Nanama.
Hi there, Nadima. Well, as we are aware, Organised Labour has said they intend to strike on October 10, following government's failure to declare state of emergency in the fight against galamsey. When we go over to Instagram, we have Chelsea, who says settings. Why not tomorrow? Then Rakieba, says, please, I will go to work. Why? Then Ivy says that we should let the strike begin. When we move over to X, we have Pressure, who says, thank God Organised Labour is not corrupt and hypocritical like the National Peace Council. We have Biney, who says simple crap. When we move over to Facebook, Colin says this is a needless strike. NPP and NDC have combined to destroy our waters starting all the way from 2012. It's 2 months to election. Go and vote against them and give another party or person a chance. If you can't change your voting against the people that have destroyed the country for 32 years, then you don't mean business, as you say. Vote hashtag Nana Kwame Bediako. Thank you. Then we also have our last comment, Noah, on Facebook. I think the juju has stopped working on Ghanaians. Now we are watching. Indeed, we are watching to see what will happen moving towards the 10th, whether Organised Labour will go ahead or not. My name is Nanama Aqua. Nadima, back over to you.
I'm wondering how the media, especially those of us in the private sector, will join in this strike if indeed it happens. But thank you for those comments on social media, Nanama. Let's do some election-related stories on your election hub. As the campaign season intensifies ahead of the December 7 elections, the battle for votes is not only taking place on the streets through traditional methods, but also unconventionally through online platforms. With social media now an integral part of everyday life, political parties are increasingly turning to a new breed of campaigners, social media influencers. With a trend from X, formerly Twitter, to TikTok challenges, these digital personalities are being used to sway the opinions of young tech-savvy voters who are more likely to engage with content from their favorite online figures than the normal political messaging. There's more in the following report.
Vote for me, make a Trump president.
Several young people have voiced their opinions about how political parties are now using social media to connect with voters, particularly young ones. Additionally, some people express their thoughts on how social media has affected their choice of candidate in the upcoming election. Others, on the other hand, say that social media had no influence on their voting decisions. To get their thoughts, we spoke with a few young people on the Accra Technical University campus. Some claim that social media campaigns have been beneficial in bringing them closer to the government. Regarding influencing voters, some claim that online campaigns have influenced them, while others claim it has not affected their choice of candidate.
If they want to reach their youth, it's a good initiative for them to use social media. But then I haven't really seen that. I'm not satisfied with the way, the country is being ruled by the present government, okay? And I have no hope in the next government too.
I've been seeing it on TikTok and then other social media handles. But I think it's actually working, especially for Cheddar. Yeah, he's giving a great impact into the youth, like through the media, because I don't even see him. Okay, I see his campaigns outside and stuff, but most of his ideas and stuff got to the youth through the media. So I think it's working.
Most of us, we don't even pay attention to like news on televisions and all that. We are mostly we use our phones a lot, like going to Twitter, WhatsApp, and all those things. And when you go there, you see all these things over there. That make us like find interest in what they are doing. Like sometimes in politics.
This has not influenced my decision as a youth because I know what I'm doing and I've seen a lot, so I know who I'm voting for. Not the social media is going to influence me in voting.
As the influence of social media continues to grow, political parties are recognizing the power of digital platforms in shaping voter opinions, particularly among younger demographics. By leveraging social media influencers, campaigners are tapping into a more engaging and relatable way to connect with voters, signaling a shift in how political messaging is delivered in the digital age. The success of this strategy will likely shape future campaigns as the role of online influencers becomes even more critical in the battle for votes.
Now, the largest opposition party, National Democratic Congress, has accepted the Electoral Commission's promise to release a corrected version of the 2024 provisional voters register to political parties for scrutiny within a week. This was after a televised IPAC meeting to discuss concerns about discrepancies in the electoral roll. EC Chairman Jean Mensah during the meeting noted that steps are being taken to correct the errors. This report by GH1 News' Obed King Gaglo chronicles what transpired at yesterday's IPAC meeting.
The IPAC meeting, first ever to be telecast live on TV, comes on the back of concerns raised by the NDC for a forensic audit of the voters' register due to alleged discrepancies the party says it has detected. The Electoral Commission, which used the platform to make some clarifications on the claims of the opposition, said the live telecast of the meeting is part of its quest to show transparency ahead of the December polls.
Prior to this, we had a list of all the individuals who had corrupt biometrics, and the commission had taken a step right down to the district level and had committed resources to get people to go and find them. Fortunately, we had some of them, we had their telephone numbers, so we could call them and ask them to come for inclusion.
Political parties, including the NDC, took turns to react to the clarifications made by the Electoral Commission. Chairperson of the Electoral Commission, Jean Mensah, assured the parties of providing the register to them in the next 2 weeks. He also assured them that the Electoral Commission has no intention of rigging the election in favor of any political party.
We have not hidden the truth, or we have not remained quiet. We have addressed the issues and informed the public that yes, some errors have been made. Here are the corrections, and we have provided this in a timely and accurate manner. And so for us, this is the trust that we speak about. I'd like to also state that we do not have anything to hide.
We have agreed as a commission to provide you and the citizenry with a revised provisional register. And this.
Meanwhile, in a latest communique, the NDC, the party says its functional executives, after deliberation, has decided to give the Electoral Commission the benefit of the doubt. But they're now demanding an examination of EC's IT system. Deputy Director of IT for the NDC, Dr. Rashid Tanko Computer, joins us on the line for more on this. How different is your demand for or your request for an assessment of EC's IT system different from your earlier request for a forensic audit?
Well, both point to one direction, to restore integrity into the IT system. Maybe initially they didn't understand our use of the forensic audit. That was giving them headache. But we think that both point to the same direction because the EC themselves admitted that their IT system is vulnerable and needs to be fixed.
Hello?
Hello?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah. So I'm saying that they both point to the same direction because the EC themselves admitted that their IT system is vulnerable and needs to be fixed. They demonstrated it yesterday in the full glare of the public.
And then so that's why we are calling that there should be a multi-party intervention on this issue, so that we all go and examine the IT system, the problems therein, and see how best we can proffer solution for them.
I mean, what do you say to those who have expressed the opinion that the NDC failed to mount a proper case yesterday at the IPAC meeting?
Then they didn't follow the whole proceeding yesterday. Virtually, the presentation of the Electoral Commission was based on the NDC evidence. The correction that they say they've done in the PVR, of which they are coming out with a fresh PVR, is based on the NDC evidence. That's what they answered yesterday. Or they were watching different programs. That was it. All the admission they made was the issues that we raised in our previous meeting with them. And they admitted to it. Didn't they admit that they added some 243,000 of old data transferred into the current one, and therefore they reversed that? Didn't they? They admitted to it yesterday. Didn't they admit to the corrupted files? They admitted to it. That yes, they were corrupted files, and they admitted where the corrupted files were, and then they restored them. So which evidence do they want to execute them?
Well, Doc, I mean, were you surprised that the NDC did not, I mean, seemingly they did not get enough backing from the other political parties?
We didn't need any backing from anybody. We're going there as a political party, NDC. And we are contesting the election as an NDC, and we are going to govern the country as an NDC. We are not into alliance with anybody. And so we're not expecting to have any backing from anybody. In any case, we are not going there to do any contest or to have a voting party over there. If people were choreographed to come and sit down there and be singing the same song, that was their cup of tea. We were not party to that. And we were not interested in anything going on. That's why we were very resolute, and we knew what we were doing, and we achieved what we wanted to achieve.
All right. Thank you for joining us. That there is Dr. Rashid Tanko Computer, who is the Deputy Director of IT for the NDC. Let's do some sports now with Jones Haji. Hello, Jones.
All right, so let's start off with some good news for Ghana and Ghana football, because the Accra Sports Stadium has been approved by the Confederation of African Football to host Ghana's 2025 African Cup of Nations qualifier against the Falcons of Sudan on Friday, October 11. So a statement from CAF read, following a comprehensive review of the reports of the CAF independent inspection regarding the Cape Coast and Accra Sports Stadia, we are pleased to inform you that the Accra Sports Stadium has been approved to host the AFCON qualifiers for Morocco 2025. So it continues to say, please note that CAF will continue to closely monitor the readiness of the stadium for the match as well as for future CAF sanctioned events. Meanwhile, coach of the Black Stars, Coach Otto, is expected to announce his squad for the AFCON qualifiers in the next 24 hours. Players like Alexander Jiku and Enes Nyama are expected to be called back into the team after their return from injury. Ghana will play Kwesi Appiah Sudan in Accra on Friday, the 11th of October, before traveling to Sudan to face them on Monday, the 14th. In the Ghana Premier League, today, two outstanding games will be played when Kumasi Asante Kotoko, who lie fifth with 5 points, face FA Cup champions Nsoatreman FC, who are in the desperate need of a win. Coach Prosper Nateogu, who is coach of Kumasi Asante Kotoko, wants to close the gap on Midiama Sporting Club.
Yeah, I think we need to try as much as possible to make sure that we vary the chances that come our way early in the game, so that we can settle into the game, have our rhythm, and then get into our flow and make sure that we play within our game structure. So I think if we are able to convert the chances early, it will give us some stability and then rhythm in the game. Yeah, it depends on how it is managed by the technical staff and the players. It depends on how the interpretation is done to the players. They all know the magnitude of the victory in terms of where to place it.
So Samatex would also face Bibiani Gold Stars. To some breaking news there, Senegalese Football Association have parted ways with head coach Aliou Cisse. All right, that'll be all for sports. My name is Jones Aji.
Thank you for those sports updates there. I mean, I've seen some pictures online with regard to the pictures. I hope we don't hear any complaints later, but thank you. Some more stories this afternoon. Ace broadcaster Ohene Ohene Yere Giftianti is pushing for more investments in cancer research and treatment to reduce mortality rates associated with the disease in the country. She made this appeal at the launch of the Trust Hospital's Pink October month. Additionally, she criticized some health professionals for failing to offer counseling to patients before informing them of their health status, noting that this practice discourages some from seeking treatment. My colleague, Evelyn Araba Edu, has more.
The Ace broadcaster, Ohineyere Gifty Auntie, bemoaned the practice of some breast cancer patients still resorting to the use of herbs and concoctions for treatment, which often worsens their conditions. She added that stigma also contributes to such practices by breast cancer patients and advised them to seek medical help early when diagnosed with the disease.
Those who are widening the care gap include our religious leaders, our traditional medical providers, if that's the right word to give them, and sometimes, unfortunately, our health professionals, because their attitude, the way they pass on, you are just told to the face.
We'll bring you the full reports later today at 5 p.m. on Starr Today. And that's how we wrap up this edition of Starr Midday News on Starr 103.5 FM. I am Nadima Umar Uthman, but log on to starfm.com.gh for more news. Good afternoon.